Hope you like the looks of the all-new 2024 Toyota Tacoma, because you're probably going to be seeing a lot of them. Last year, Toyota sold just shy of 235,000 Tacomas in the United States, which is just about the same as all of the other midsize pickups combined. And even if a couple of them are having a bad year, the way the Tacoma dominates its class is unbelievable. Toyota would likely sell even more if it could build more, but the factory that manufactures the Tacoma in Mexico is pretty much maxed out. Well, now you might be asking, why is American Cars and Racing even reviewing this vehicle? It's from a Japanese brand, and it's made in Mexico. Well, again, it's the king of the mid-size pickups, the emperor, the dictator even. Everyone is trying to beat this, so we couldn't ignore it. And even though it is made in Mexico, it was designed very specifically for the United States. Toyota sells other pickups in other countries. This one was engineered in Michigan, California, and Arizona. This marks the first redesign of the Tacoma since 2016, but really it's the first all-new Tacoma since 2005. It's built on Toyota's new truck platform that's shared with the much larger Tundra, as well as the Sequoia and the upcoming Land Cruiser, pretty much every truck Toyota's going to be making the next couple of years. The Tacoma is launching in 6 trim levels that are variously available, with extra cab and double cab bodies and 5 or 6 foot beds. In fact, just take a look at all the different configurations you can get. And the TRD Pro is not even on here yet. That's coming later this year. Base trucks start around $33,000, while fully loaded limited tops out around $54,000. The entry-level SR gets a 228 horsepower engine, while most of the trims, including this mid-level TRD Sport 2-wheel drive, have a 278 horsepower turbocharged 4-cylinder with 317 pound-feet of torque. That's the same horsepower as the V6 in the old Tacoma, and a lot more torque. That engine comes with an 8-speed automatic transmission, but you could still get a 6-speed manual, which drops the power down to 270 horsepower and 310 pound-feet of torque. Along with the new boxy styling that's similar to the Tundras, a couple of the biggest changes happen at the rear of the truck, underneath it in fact. Several of the trims, including the TRD Sport, have a new multi-link coil spring rear suspension instead of a leaf spring setup. And all Tacomas get rear disc brakes. Toyota stuck with drums for a long time. It even argued that they were better in some situations, but it's finally pulled its trucks into the 21st century. About a quarter century late. The interior has a chunky style that echoes the body and gets dual digital displays, but is very functional. The climate control and volume uses knobs and toggles that are great to use when you're driving, especially if you're wearing gloves. Although you do have to tune the radio on the Jumbotron screen, which has a finicky interface. Center console has room for 2 phones. There are MOLLE attachments all over the place, and more bottle holders than 4 or 5 passengers could ever know what to do with. This definitely feels a step up from the old Tacoma, although the new Chevrolet Colorado and GMC Canyons interiors might be a little bit fancier. This particular trim has this glossy plastic on the roof pillar and door that's easy to scratch, although it has upholstery on it in other models. One huge update you can't miss is just how roomy this is. The old Tacoma was tiny inside. If you were over 6 foot, you felt all cramped in there, and the seat was so flimsy it was almost like a lawn chair. This has plenty of space up front and very substantial seats. Can't say quite the same about the rear, however. It is roomier, but on a 6'1" scooch test where I see how I could fit behind myself with the front seat set for me, it is a tight squeeze. And the seat's got a scooch. There is some good storage space underneath it, but the seat doesn't stay locked in the upright position unless you clip it with this strap. TRD Sport's aluminum tailgate is damped, and the 2024 Tacoma keeps the model's signature composite bed. I know there are a lot of old Tacoma owners that haven't quite come around to this one just yet, but the most controversial thing about it for everyone seems to be the front air dam, which is enormous. Helps the fuel efficiency, which is 22 miles per gallon combined in this model, but does do a job on the ground clearance, which is over 10 inches otherwise. The toe hooks are accessible, however, and you can take it off pretty easily by removing 9 hex bolts that are also Phillips head screws. This may not have been the ideal version of this for this weather, but I did learn something pretty interesting about it. The traction control in this is amazing. I'm going to floor the gas on the snow And look at this. It's got it totally under control, no slip whatsoever. And this is running on street tires. The TRD Sport is one of the trims with the top tow rating, though, that's 6,500 pounds and it can carry over 1,400 pounds of payload. It's also been legitimately tuned as a street sport truck with its own shocks. The off-road models get their own dampers, and the Limited gets computer-controlled dampers. That new rear suspension does wonders for the way this rides on the road. Substantially better than the old Tacoma, although I haven't tried any of the trims that still have leaf springs. Very nice ride, lots of body control, and it's not hopping around as much as the last Tacoma I remember driving did. The engine's also got good power and sounds great. Might be some digital enhancement there, I'm not sure, but there's real noise coming from the motor and the exhaust. Rear-wheel drive Tacomas come with an electronic limited slip differential, and all Tacomas come with a full suite of electronic drive aids that includes lane tracing, adaptive cruise control, as well as emergency braking and blind spot monitoring systems. Going to reserve final judgment on the Tacoma as a whole until I try a couple of more trims, including some 4x4s, but I can say this one is excellent, at least when it's brand new. One question that won't be answered for quite some time is how this will hold up to the old Tacoma's reputation for bulletproof reliability. But given how well the Tacoma usually sells, if it's not reliable, there'll be plenty of people complaining about it.